Welcome to our Cypress Automation Test Scenario Talks. Today we are talking about Cypress Component Test. Cypress Components Testing is a feature of the Cypress that allows you to mount and test individual UI components, React, Vue, Angular, in isolation, outside of application. It is used to verify that a single component's behavior correctly with different prompts, state, and interactions similar to the unit testing but focused on the UI. Introduction. Purpose: to test UI components in isolation without require a full application load. Scope: components level, E2E tester, which is a full application or page level. Supported frameworks: React, Vue, Angular, Svelte, etc. Environmental: runs in the real browser like E2E test, providing visual debugging. Benefits of the Cypress Components Testing. Visual debugging. Test runs in the real browser UI, like E2E testing. Faster feedback. Faster than E2E, since only components is mounted. Reusable test logic. Use the same Cypress API as for end-to-end tests. Built-in dev tools, time travel debugging, network sparking. Test prompts, edge cases easily. Control components imports directly without backend setup. Compare Cypress Components Testing with E2E testing. Scope: components testing single UI components. Full end-to-end test for application flow. Speed: faster, no backend or routing needed. Slower: require application boot plus routing. Purpose: test components logic and UI readily. Test use genres and integrate flow. How it works. Mount components use a Cypress mount function. Provide prompts or mount data as needed. Interact with the components. Use Cypress commands. Assert behavior, UI state, or domain changes. Build React components and Cypress component test. Here is the application for the Cypress components test. On the source code and the components folder, we have the components to do item, button, selector. In the Cypress components under this folder, create another related components task to do item.cy.jsx, button.cy.jsx, select.cy.jsx. Example for the React button components test. Here is button JSX. This is a code. This components under source code components. Here is button.cy.jsx. in the code, first line is a import source code components button. Here is a test. This is a check the button components. First test is a check the label. So is a Cypress mount button. And the check button is contain click me exist. Second is a handle click event. You see here is a define constant on click. Here is a Cypress mount to the button. Button click me. And get the button click. Then check the click handle. This handle should have been called once. Okay, let us run the application component test and also see the test results. First, I open the command line, and here you see this one is run. And the first time you before we talk about E2E test, and for this one is component test. But the first time you need this should not configure, so you need a click and step by step from this interface config. Okay, after configure, you can choose for browser. If I choose Chrome, I can start run the test. So I have three tests for the component test. So one by one to run. First, I run the button. You see here is the button is a click me, and as the components. So let me see the results. First one is check the label. So you see here is click me is here. So he get contain click me. This is first is mount to the button components, and check the button. If button have the click me in the domain. So this is a assert for this is in the button. So the pass this test. Second test after click me should get the click handle get call once. So first one is mount the button components. Get the button, click the button. You see the click button and check the click handle. This handle have the exactly call once. So this is a pass this test. And the second test, we can see the select. Okay, so components select dropped down list. Like this is we have the 4 value. So is first one is mount to the select list. So select list should exist domain. So is check is exist. And the second, we have the 4 option or 4 value. So you can see here we have the 4 here. And then is get should have list have the Australia. So you can see here is Australia in here. You can check a different one like Iceland or something. This is the first check this on components existing and also have a 4 value and can turn the value as you expected. Second is change the select. So mount the select list, get the select list, and select which one, Sweden. So check the Sweden. The Sweden is in the here. So you see here is have this one. So when this one is a get. So this is a test 2. And another test to do item. You see here is a to do item. First one is a check mount to do item. You see here is not a check, so you not read test. So just check is exist in a domain. Second, get the checkbox, so mount to this one, and then assessed for this one is have the check mark. Thank you for watching. Hope you like the video. If you want to follow us updates, please subscribe. See you next time.